Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, YouTubers from all over the world. This is a weekly update on progress. As you can see, I completed quite a few dead eyes and lacing and all on both sides of the ship, and I'm in this production role, being able to knock them out. And I'm thinking, okay, the last one, I'll film the whole thing, the process. And as I was doing the next to the last one, I noticed, wow, how close this rope here is, awful close to the other one. The last one's going to be the same way. And just as a glance over to the print, and looky there, the next to the last one goes all the way up to the top crow's nest. And the last one goes all the way to the top. So I've actually laced this one and tied it up here to the wrong spot. So I got to cut these laces out on both sides of the ship and do a new one that goes up longer. And the one I'm cutting out, I'm sure hopefully I'll be able to use it up here on the foremast. If it's too long or something, I can tie a knot in it and hide that knot somewhere. But we get on a roll and didn't check the print. And backing up and punting again, so we got to cut that one out. Make a longer one for the spot that one's in. That's supposed to go all the way up to here. And then the last one go all the way up to here. So I'm going to cut that one out, pull it out, and I'll be able to salvage the actual lanyard and all the cinching and probably reuse it over here on the foremast. Should be able to reach one of them. Hopefully I won't have to modify it. But that's what happens. All that work. And one of the bad things about cutting these out is there's a couple slip knots on the underside of this dead eye. And you got to get in there with a razor knife to get those slip knots out of there, because they're super glued in underneath and the knot's tied in the back. So I got to fight with that for a little bit. And we'll just reuse this one somewhere else. What a shame. Okay, so we got the next to the last one changed to where it goes up there now instead of over here. And then the last one we're going to do now is going to go all the way up to here. the one we took off is a little too long, so we got a tie knot in it up here. We can hide underneath this, and that'll take up some slack. And a couple knots. We gotta raise it up where it'll be the same height as our jig. So, get some of this out. One of these, I want to orient this so when I wrap the rope around it, 2 holes perpendicular to the rope, are on the bottom. We'll be able to spin it if we don't get any glue in there. And then we have changed our tactic. Of the noose knot. And something else I did was drill and tap some holes in this big steel block to act as a super counterweight for this tool to hold things. So now when I move it, I can make it tight and it'll stay tight. It won't scoot back. We cut off a little bit of this thread, and then I'm doing a loop through twice granny knot, not just a granny knot on top of a granny knot. And those stay pretty tight when you pull them tight. So this is where I'm doing different than the last video when we were tying that noose knot on there. So I'm able to get that really tight. And then I can scoot it up to the dead eye. And that sort of locks it around the dead eye. And then I take the short tail and we can trap it up here. And then the long tail, make this tight. And cinch this. And go around at least 10 times. Somewhere where it's around 7 to 8 millimeters long. And we'll measure this here in a minute. The first one isn't near as critical to measure as the other ones. And we got a little bit of super glue on that where it rolls over. And I try to shoot a little bit where that wraps around the dead eye so it won't come loose. And then we can pull it up even tighter while that glue is still wet. And we get another piece. Before we do that second one. Go ahead and cut this tail out of there. Another double loop through granny knot. They don't come loose near as easy. Now we'll take our calipers here. Our total is 22, and the first to the second is 15. 8 and 7 is 15. So we will set this close to 15. You can see I got to scoot that forward a little bit. And get that tail over here and trap it. And then wrap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and one to grow on. Now we need to be 22. Close thereof. So you want to go a couple more wraps. And that'll give us some more length on this. Before I glue, I'm making sure the bottom rope going around the dead eye and the top rope are still lined up, going this way. And if you get a little too much on there, just wipe it off with a rag. Now we know this first one is pretty much dry. Cut that. We're going to be feeding this over to the ship pretty soon. Give this a few seconds here for this second one to dry. Cut that big tail off, our tie tail, and then our wrap should be good. Okay. Now we come over here. We're going to fish this through to the other side. Get some tweezers here. And we'll be in the front of that beam. Oh, we're messing up already. Yeah, that last one we're doing now is all the way to the top. Well, almost to the top, above that stiffener. So what we want to do there's a hole in there. I wonder if that hole's for bet you it is, but that deadeye ain't gonna fit through there when we tie the other side. That's the only problem with this one. Now we're gonna plan on using that hole for something else, because this is too complicated. So get my little jiggy here. Piece of thread on that. So I got that trapped in there. And we got to grab another deadeye here. We know this is going to loop around and come up, so we're going to cut this somewhere about there. Pick out another good deadeye. Some of them, the holes need a little work on them. It's best to do this now. And take our other little jiggy we made. Don't stab yourself. Get that on there where it's fairly secure. You can see on these I'm making one of the holes on the very top and on the very bottom, and then the other two holes to the side, and that looks a little more uniform. That's the way it is in the pictures in the book too. So we got one hole down there on the bottom. We'll stick this one in these two and then see if we can turn it. I didn't account for that. Yeah, let me turn it. So now we got that deadeye sitting there all by itself. So I'm pulling some pretty hard tension, looking up here to make sure that's going to stay. We'll probably put some cinching on that up there. Take my little clamper, clamp that. Cut me a piece of cinching rope. This cannon's right in the way. So this cinching rope, and we'll go 1, 2, and because I grab the chair here and sit down, because we want to make that tight, I'm using these pliers. Grab that and really put the whammy to it, and then tie a single granny knot over the face of that double so it can't come loose. Now we don't want to do the cinching here, and that's the whole reason we're doing this feed through and then take them off. We got the jig there, we know this is the right length, so we can pop that off while that's hanging there. Pop this one off. And we'll take this over to the bench. Get our chair again. All we gotta do is put this in the vise. We can take that off. Making sure that one hole's on the very top. Stretch this out. Grab it from underneath. That way the sagging doesn't make this rope roll. We don't want it to roll because they're in a nice neat pattern there. Put another clamp over here and we can pull that tight when we're ready. So now we got this fairly long tail there. Go behind the beginning knot and then go ahead and start wrapping. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oop. You gotta keep it tight as you wrap. 8, 9. Boop. See how I dropped it there? It's okay. 7, 8, 9. Good enough. Go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's why I like using the counterweight. See, I don't have to hold that anymore. And I can get some glue on that. And we'll cut another piece. We know this whole rope here is the right length. Get that out there and cut it. And we want to check that for 15 millimeters. Got to come up a little. Yeah, I had a little glue on it. Oop. Don't want to go up now. There it goes. Close enough. A little loose, I'm going to tighten it up. 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. And that should be 22 millimeters. Well, it's good enough, eh? cut the first one. It's dry. Got 2 rolls of this big lanyard rope. Hope I don't run out. So that one's on this side, this one on that side. It should work. Like that. Get that on the jig. Okay. Take our jig off. And then the other thing I do is make sure that this doesn't want to spin when you pull tight on it, which side it wants to lay. So we'll use that side. Get some white and lace this baby up. And actually stick the white string right in the mouth of the glue gun. I want to make sure I get some on there. And then I pull it through a rag and wipe it off. That helps it dry quick. Get our little 45-degree tweezers here. A little piece of wire sticking up there from when we made that bend. So I'm going to use this glue in. Get it through that bottom hole from the back. And we'll use this glued in to feed through all the holes. So we're going to pull all the slack up here and get it out of the way and tie a knot down here. We don't want this laying down because it's going to be in the way for us tying a knot. We want it to go up. So here I'm going to do another double granny. I don't know the right terminology for that. But the trick here is with that granny knot, pull through the same loop twice. Grab this with the pliers and let the knot pull tight in the back. And we'll cut that off and glue it. Oop. I see that knot is not pulling tight. So we better glue it first. I'm using this little stick. Get some on there and then I can reach back in here. Don't get any glue in your holes. Now we'll just leave that dry while we lace this up. So because we started in the back, coming out in the front, we're going to go in the front, and then we're going to go down to the left side. So we're going in the front of the middle top and go down to the left side, go through, on the back to the front, go back in the left side, in the front. Now we're going to go down to the right side, but our rope that is crossing is going to be in the back, and you won't see that very easily. Just like lacing up your sneakers, your tennis shoes. So this is the little tricky part here. We got them all the same height. We got to tie another knot around the bottom of this dead eye, but we want the knot to stay in the back. So I'm going to go around, and I want to be on top of the line coming down. And then I'm going to go through twice. Like that. Before we pull it tight, we want to get on this line that's coming down. Make sure it's taut. And then force that granny knot to slide in to the back there as we pull tight on it. That locks it back there. And we don't want that in the front. There we go. So for extra measure, we can take the tail from the first run and do a single granny knot between both of them. And that's going to lock it together, I hope. I hope. We'll cut that. We'll get this over on the other side before we cut it, so we'll cutting it where you can't see it, hopefully. Get a little glue on our stick. I got the camera on my head. I hope you guys are able to see everything. There we go. Cutaway side. Main mast, dead eyes. All done. Well, we gotta do the other side though. And you can see how the jig is holding that, so it's just a matter of pulling the jig out and lacing it up like we did over there. Now I think I'm going to take some more cinching rope and cinch this up here too so it can't come off. That's it. You can see, I hope I got this at the right angle. I'm going to have to check it while I do my editing. We may have to do this all over again. I hope not. Well, we're going to be doing it all over the whole ship. I mean, when I say do it all over again, I'm talking about filming it for you guys. And this one we're gonna have to fix lengthwise, but it's ready to start on the foremast. There's only 4 in the back, so yeah, one of them 4 goes up to the crow's nest. And then the same here, we got 2 of them up here in the foremast, forward mast, that are going to go up high instead of going to the first crow's nest. So we have to keep that in mind when we do these back here. One of them goes all the way to the second crow's nest. Here we go again. Make it tight, but not too tight. Too tight so you can do that. Now pull it tight around the top of the dead eye. And then I want to do a regular knot on top of that double. Keep that double from coming loose. So now I'm going to take this over to the bench and cinch it up. This is the forward mast. There's the cinching. Looks pretty good. And that one that was too long that we took off of the main mast, you can see up there I tied a bunch of knots in it. And probably about 10, 12, maybe 15 knots. I don't know, I didn't count them, but there was a bunch of them before I could get it to the right length. And that's the first one we tied on there. So I'm going to go ahead and cinch this one up. And then I'll bring it back and we'll lace it. Okay, let's try this. If we run out of battery, I'm going to have to recharge. Gotta get that through the bottom. I think it's wanting to lay this way. We'll find out when we pull it. Fail. Success. I see that came out the wrong side. So move it over to the right side, or left side. Now this one's going to come down and cross in the back to the right side. That looks good. Now bring this around the back, but make it come over the top. So it's going to push down on it and get our knot ready. Pull out the slack. I can pull this and make it tight while I push the knot around the back like that. Do one more choker knot. And then put a little dab of glue in there. While that glue's still wet. Oops. That was a fail. We cut off the wrong one. So I'm gonna try to cut the whole knot there in the back. I'm gonna have to fight it, get it out. We gotta restring the whole thing. Good grief. Trying to do this fast enough where I can that one knot that we started with is still holding it. If I can get that to come loose, we'll be in good shape. Well, we got to do it all over again. That's an example of if at first you don't succeed, try again. Now we got it out of the hole, that's good. A little piece of wire sticking up there that's stopping me from cutting the rope. Need to put the camera on charge while we clean this up. Well, we repaired that debacle and did a few more. So now these last two are going to go up to the second crow's nest and to the top of the mast. We got the ones on this side all buttoned up. So two more for the foremast. They go up high. There's always these little details you see. Boy, it's going to be fun getting to them blocks in there. I mean, those are going to be tough. Them too. Well, we got the floor mast done. And the main mast done. Oh, I gotta cut that tail there, don't I? cutting this without cutting the stinking lacing. Yeah, I already got them all super glued up, so they're not going to come undone. But for this week's progress, main mast and foremast yards, or lanyards, not yards, lanyards are tied to the dead eyes. Last, we got to do the mizzen mast next week, and I don't know if I want to start tying rat lines or not. I know I got a board to put on there. They're showing a board. It gets mounted in the midst of the cinching. Yeah, there it is right there. There it is again. So I think I'm going to take a board and notch it where the ropes line up, and then stick it in from the back, and then tie some cinching around it. Make it look like it goes through the board. But yeah, that's something we should probably do before we start tying all those rat lines. As you know, rat lines are going to take forever. Thanks for watching.